Honorable Men Discord. Toure says Drake is not a stadium artist. Let's talk about it.
How you see yourself is how you perceived. I see a man strong, gifted, head strapping, never down on his knees, begging. Gotta make a way, even in my darkest hour. Say the odds against me was new. I would never cower.
As always, welcome back to another episode. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Let's get straight to it. So I came across this video and I thought it was interesting. Toure said Drake is not a stadium artist. He's an arena artist. Now, I said, okay. I didn't see how there was a bad thing either which way. Whether he's an arena artist, whether he's a stadium artist, I don't think it's a bad thing. Furthermore, for those of you watching this episode that are artists yourselves, I'm pretty sure I could go as far as saying you all would be satisfied with being an arena artist. Even if you weren't a stadium artist, you'd be satisfied with that. Because I know for most artists that are trying to make a name for themselves, they're doing things like pubs, small venues, anything to get exposure. They're doing clubs, lounges, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'll see you in the comments. If you're an artist, you're satisfied with getting any type of feedback from listeners. Any type of feedback. So for me, as an artist, if I get feedback, if I'm playing my song in my car, if I'm blasting the music and somebody is passing by and they're like, who is that? And they would say something, they were to applaud my music or give me some type of, I don't know why I'm lost at a loss for words. If they were to say something nice about my music, I would be satisfied with that. Much less if I was to do a small venue and I got a compliment. That's the word I was looking for. I don't know why that missed me. If I was doing a small venue, performing at a small venue, and I got a compliment, that would be success for me. But we're talking Drake, right? So that's not going to be success for Drake. Obviously, these artists are out there working hard, grinding, and they expect to see some residual from their hard work. They want to see some money. So I guess that's what Toure was alluding to, but I don't see how it's a bad thing. Now, let me know in the comments if you feel as though when Toure brought this up, he was trying to shame Drake for not being a stadium artist. But I have something to say about that after this clip. Let's get straight into this clip and we'll talk about it further.
Drake is not a stadium artist. King Green pointed this out to me on Rap Latte. When Drake tours America, he does not do stadiums. He does arenas. It's a big difference. Arenas are where NBA and NHL teams play, and they're generally 10 to 20,000 seaters. Stadiums are where NFL teams play, and those are like 40, 50, 60, 70,000 seaters.
And this is why I decided to do this episode. I had to just pause it right there. You've got to be kidding me. Is he trying to say 10 to 20,000 seats in an arena is disappointing? Again, I'll see you all in the comments if you believe that's what he's alluding to. When I saw this, I said, I'll definitely do an episode on this because you got to be kidding me. 10 to 20,000 people is not a disappointment by any stretch. Again, there's a lot of artists whose names you know out there right now that are performing in small venues, clubs with a few hundred, maybe a few thousand. And for those artists, if they saw 3,000 people in the crowd, they're like, wow, I had that place jumping for 3,000. So he's saying an arena is 10 to 20,000. Listen, I see 10 to 20,000 people rapping along, singing along to my song, and I'm elated. I'm just, I would be in cloud nine to look at a crowd of 10 to 20,000 and they're rapping along to my lyrics. But again, he's talking about Drake. So he's looking at Drake's stretch, his long run, and he's comparing him to other artists. But let's continue because there's something else I'm going to point out.
If you're a touring artist, there's a gigantic difference between the arena level and the stadium level. A difference in how big you are, a difference in how much you make. Now, when you look at the streaming numbers, Drake is one of the biggest artists in the game. Spotify's top 4 most streamed artists for 2025. Number 4, Drake. Number 3, The Weeknd. Number 2, Taylor Swift. Number 1, Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny does stadiums outside the US. Taylor and The Weeknd do stadiums inside the US. Bad Bunny is a stadium artist outside the US. Taylor and The Weeknd are stadium artists in the US. But Drake is not. Why? Because you can't fake a ticket sale. You can fake a stream, you can use bots, you can use payola, you can use all sorts of things to manipulate Spotify and other online metrics to make your song seem bigger.
All right, so he answered my early question that I asked of you all watching this. He's clearly attacking Drake for not being a stadium artist. I'm going to go out on the limb and say that's what he's accusing him of. And here's the thing. He failed to recognize the fact that, and correct me if I'm wrong, when Drake is performing in Europe, it looks like he's performing in stadiums. At least from the videos that I've seen, it looks like he's performing in stadiums. There's a massive amount of people that are in attendance when he's in Europe. Now, when he was doing the OVO Fest, which I'm not sure if he's consistently doing it, ever since this back and forth with Kendrick, I don't even know if the OVO Fest is still going on. Let me know in the comments if it is. That looks like it's an arena. Yes, I don't believe it's a stadium, but it's still a massive amount of people. And here's the thing. He mentioned The Weeknd. He mentioned Taylor Swift. They're vocalists, not rappers. So let me point that out. And then Bad Bunny. Those of you watching this would have to tell me what type of artist Bad Bunny is. I would assume Bad Bunny is more of a singer. Now, if he's rapping, okay, but he's rapping also in another language. He has a different demographic that resonates with him because of that. So he's connecting with the Latin community. And that's a huge community because that embodies, you just name it, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Cuban, and so on and so forth. That whole Latin community is going to gravitate to Bad Bunny and his music. So that's a completely different, to mention him, that's the reason why he's number one also. Not excluding the fact that he's super talented, but because he resonates with the Latin community, he's pulling in all different parts of the Latin community, which is great for him in sales. So that's the reason why he's number one. To mention Taylor Swift and The Weeknd, they're not even rap artists. So either way, Drake drops on number 4, which is not a bad spot to be in at all. So I don't really know where he was going with this video, because here's the thing that I wanted to say. Drake being number 4 is an amazing, amazing feat, considering how long Drake has been at this. Drake has been at this for a very long time, which is why I didn't jump on the bandwagon when, you know, he had the back and forth records with Kendrick Lamar. Yes, some will say Kendrick won. Kendrick won to a degree, but Drake did his job too. And at the end of the day, pound for pound, whether you like him or not, whether or not he has ghostwriters, Drake's track record and his hits are phenomenal. I will forever stand 10 toes down in saying that I applaud Drake. You know, even if he's not writing his lyrics, you still have to deliver a track that's believable. You have to own the music. And for those people who are not artists that think it's easy to be given lyrics and then to get in a studio booth and make it convincing, sell it to the people, it's not easy. And if you think it's easy, why don't you just try it out yourself? And I'm not trying to be funny. Why don't you have somebody that could write, give you lyrics, you find a beat, go in the studio, and you read those lyrics and make it convincing. Sell it to the people. Own those lyrics and make people believe that you wrote it. So it's almost the same thing as an actor. An actor takes a script and they own it. They embody the character. And they sell it to you because you believe that person is no longer the actor that you know the person to be, but the character that they're portraying. And Drake does that. But I don't want to go off topic. The point I'm trying to say is Drake being number 4 on that list with those names above him, it's still an incredible feat. Say what you want about that man. I don't know if the powers that be are on a mission to try to sabotage Drake's legacy, but I will forever say Drake is top tier. I am a Drake fan as well as a Kendrick Lamar fan. Let me be clear on that. But I will never sit here and nitpick and say, oh, Drake is an arena artist and why other people are doing stadiums, not Drake. And let me say this about the hustle and about the grind. Anyone watching this, if this may be second knowledge to you, this may be firsthand knowledge to you. The way the grind works is, let's just say Drake is only doing arenas and not stadiums. And you're trying to compare what he's not doing to what others are doing in stadiums. Understand this, it really just comes down to your grind. So let's say a stadium artist is doing, for the month of, we'll say February, they're doing 4 shows for that month in different cities, right? If the arena artist is doing 8 shows in that month, isn't it working out to the same thing? You said 10 to 20,000 people in an arena, as opposed to stadiums that do, he went above that. He went maybe 40 to 50 to 60,000, whatever the number is. At the end of the day, the person who's doing arenas and their tour dates, they have more tour dates than the person who has stadium dates. It's equaling out to the same thing, is it not? Or close to it? Listen, I'm going to call this as a win-win. There's no losing in this. Again, if you're an artist watching this episode and you've been doing pubs and clubs, you already know that if an opportunity came for you to perform your song, your record, in front of an arena, you would not be sitting there pouting as if an arena is a downfall of your career or you didn't make it. And I don't care how many years you've been doing the music. If you're in an arena, you're still going to look at it like I'm still doing my thing, as you should. Let me just finish this video and I'm going to wrap up.
Than they actually are. And Drake has been doing a lot of that. He uses bots, he buys streams, he uses all sorts of things to inflate his number.
Allegedly. We don't know that. Now, again, Toure sounding like somebody cut him a check and he's joining the bandwagon to try to sabotage Drake. I don't know what this is all about. And let me be clear. I know Drake in recent months have been doing some odd things, like the photo with him showing his abs. I don't even know if they're real abs. Just some weird things. He's off keel because of the situation with Drake. The situation with Kendrick. He's off keel. Now, we know that's the reason why. As an artist, you know how criticism to your work really affects you. We could act like it doesn't, but any type of criticism to your work, even in podcasting, some of the negative comments that pop up ever so often, not often, it irks me. I'm human, all right? So like Drake, he's a little off keel because of the back and forth with Kendrick, especially with the masses, the fans saying Kendrick won, especially when you have Kendrick going to Toronto and the crowd is singing along to Not Like Us. You know that's going to hurt him. Especially when you have to watch the person who went to Toronto and got a good outcome, a good attendance, a good group of your fans cheering along to his music. You had to watch him get 5 Grammys. You had to watch him perform at the Super Bowl. So that's going to put you off. It's going to make you not perform and not act the way you normally would act. Your confidence is going to be a little scarred. All right. That goes without saying. But again, Drake is an extraordinary an extraordinary artist, and I'm not going to take anything away from him. I know that's what Toure is trying to do here, and Toure actually appreciate his work. For those of you that don't know who he is, his background, he's a music journalist, cultural critic, they have him down as a podcaster and television personality. But he's definitely been one that I've seen do interviews, and he's very well versed in hip hop. So I would go as far as saying he's a fan of hip hop. So he knows what he's talking about, but I just don't like when you start to say things like he's inflating numbers. Whether that's true or not, listen, the music industry is shady, period. Tribe Quest said it years ago in a song. The music industry is shady. Recently, I want to say a few years back, Tekashi 6ix9ine was talking about how they were messing with his numbers when he knows he should have had better numbers on the streaming services, but they were intentionally playing with the numbers. Listen, the music industry as a whole is shady. So I don't even want to hear anything about numbers being inflated. It's been going on for years. The numbers on YouTube, the viewership on YouTube, we don't know how accurate it is. We could want to believe it's accurate, but it's not always accurate. Numbers on, I'm going to go as far as saying TikTok, Instagram, all those numbers. How do we prove that those are legit numbers? How do we know that it's not skewed? And your favorite artists, I don't care who they are, don't be surprised if you find out your favorite artist was playing with the numbers to make sure they stay on top. No one, again, artists take their craft and their music very personal. It's dear to heart. They could act as though it's not dear to heart, but when the masses are saying negative things about their art, they're bothered by it. They may not come out and say they're bothered by it because they want to maintain that image of they can't be scarred. They got hearts of steel. They're bulletproof, but they're scarred. Trust me when I tell you they're scarred.
Numbers. But when it comes time for people to buy tickets and sit in them and cheer for you, his audience isn't as big as everyone else at his level of streaming. Because Drake's audience isn't as big as the numbers make it seem. When the lights come on and the tickets start getting purchased, we see that Drake is not one of the biggest artists in the game. He's not big enough for stadiums.
Listen, I'm just going to close with this. And I respect Toure's work. He's been doing this for a while. And again, I told you, he's well-versed in hip-hop. But what are we saying, Toure? Are we saying that Drake's a failure? Just come out and say Drake's a failure. Because you sat there on that couch with that bookshelf behind you talking to people about somebody who's a millionaire. You know, I believe I just covered this not too long ago when I was talking. A matter of fact, yes, it was the Cam Newton, Natalie Nunn interview where Natalie was taking shots at Cam Newton for his loss in the Super Bowl. And what exactly are we talking about here? It's the same thing with when Natalie Nunn made those remarks to Cam Newton. What exactly are we talking about? These people, Cam Newton, regardless if he didn't win a Super Bowl, Drake, regardless if he's not performing in the stadiums as his counterparts, these people are super successful. They made it. They're well off. They're sitting. I mean, you saw the size of Drake's home. Drake made it. He made it. His legacy is cemented, regardless of, if people are now trying to turn their back on him and trying to sabotage his legacy. He's cemented, whether you like it or not. You don't have to like it. Drake is cemented. And nothing's going to change that. So to play the number game, well, he does arenas, not stadiums, and he only does 10 to 20,000 people. Again, at the end of the day, the way the grind works, and you know who knows the grind very well and takes advantage of it is Rick Ross. Rick Ross understands that when he does do shows, he'll do a lot of shows. And many other artists too adopt this. So even artists that are doing small venues, right? Clubs. It's a numbers game. You make up for what you don't do in grinding even harder and doing more dates. That's how you get paid, because the money is in the shows anyway. So who cares whether it's an arena or a stadium? All right, so I could only fill up arenas. Well, then I'm just going to double, triple down on the amount of tour dates I do within a week. I'll just stack each month, each week. I'll stack them up with tour dates and make a killing. It's a win-win. Yes, you're going to be working harder, but it's all about what you want to, what your goals are. But by no stretch is Drake a failure for doing arenas as opposed to stadiums. I think this is a ridiculous talking point, and I respect Toure again. I'm gonna say it again. I respect Toure's work and his how long he's been doing this, but shame on you, Toure, for even speaking on this. And who cut you that check to speak on Drake like that? This is just getting disgusting, gentlemen. 2026. The takeaway should be just keep doing what you're doing. As long as you're satisfied with what you're doing, as long as you're not hurting anybody while you're doing it, as long as it keeps a smile on your face. There's so many destructive things going on in this world. We see the news. I don't have to talk about the news. I talk about it ever so often on episodes, but I don't have to talk about the news. You're well aware of what's going on in this world, and some of the horror that is going on in this world. And don't let social media deter you from continuing to do what makes you feel alive. All right, no matter how others may feel about what it is that you're doing, as long as it brings you joy, just keep doing it. And as long as it's not divisive and evil, just keep doing what you're doing. And sometimes it's necessary to just take off social media, because could you imagine if you're Drake having to see something like this come across your feed, or maybe a friend brings it to his attention, like, oh, look what Toure said about you. Like, really? Does he have to see this? Why? Has he not gone through enough? Like, why? Why, Toure? Why are you adding to the fire that's already been burning these last few months against Drake? But that's my thoughts on this. What's yours? As always, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Tell a friend to tell a friend. I drop episodes daily at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And as always, stay honorable.